Guys, I'm a little stuck here. On the one hand, I want to read more about Twilight and her adventure in the next land. On the other hand, I want to do more Pokemon. Chapter 6 of Hoennshy by Fenix, Outlanders. The plain stretched as far as Twilight could see. Semblances of small settlements were peppered in the distance, but nothing too remarkable in the barren openness. The three had traveled for hours in tall grass, with the sun beating down on them, refusing to let up. A small breeze blew through the array of grasses, creating a calm whistling sound that put the ponies at ease, at least just a little. Twilight took a swig of her water and placed it in her bag as she licked her lips. The map they were given by the princess wasn't as much help as they hoped. Some of the ink markings were smudged, and the path towards Phoenicia was nowhere to be seen. She only hoped that they were headed in the right direction.
How long have we been walking? There hasn't been a sign of the road at all. I'm wondering if we're even heading the right way.
Verity asked, slightly panting. She took one of the apples from her bags and bit into it.
There has to be a path around here somewhere. The delivery ponies head to that their Venetian country, right?
Applejack asked, looking to the two unicorns.
Luna must have put us in that forest if it was close to the path.
I talked with some of the male ponies before. Most of them just do local stops. I haven't heard any talk about heading to another country before.
This probably just being modest. As much as I would love for people to know about my boutique success, it's pretty like to boast in casual conversation.
Twilight stopped, causing Verity and Applejack to follow suit. It's so strange. I've never heard of this country, or any of the other ones on this map. I haven't read about them. It wasn't until the princess explained it that I knew what was outside of Equestria, if there was anything at all, Twilight said. A sweat passed between Twilight's eyes. She let it run down, then plopped onto the grass. I'm getting tired. If we can't find anything soon, what should we do? We've been following the sun's movement correctly. I don't understand why we haven't found the road yet. Without a second thought, the other two sat down and started to rummage through their provisions. Verity set up a small cloth on the ground for a makeshift picnic, trying to lighten the mood. Twilight took out 2 pieces of flat bread and some red apples and promptly placed them on the mat. When Twilight could even blink, Verity cut up the food with several quick slices of a knife and split it amongst the three. Applejack dug in as soon as he could, while Twilight wiped the sweat from her brow. The heat from the sun was much more unbearable when she wasn't moving. Except for the short expeditions, Twilight never went on excursions, and it showed. She took a small bite of an apple slice and tried to savor it as much as she could. Without a proper destination, Twilight wanted to make sure they had enough rations to make an emergency trip back to Ponyville, if need be. Suddenly, the 3 ponies sprang to their feet as the aftershock of an explosion rushed past them. A cloud of smoke rose in the distance, towering above the plains. This was their chance to finally see another living creature from outside Equestria. Though an unspoken plan, they quickly gathered their belongings and broke out into a full gallop towards the towering fume. The grass whipped at Twilight's face, but she gritted her teeth and barreled on through, still too tired to form a path with her magic.
I think I can see something!
Applejack yelled back. The grass ahead of them thinned out enough that they could see patches of shorter grass ahead. Applejack quickened her pace, plowing her way through the last thicket that made her to the other side. Twilight turned her head to the side to prevent long grass from whipping against her face as she ran. After losing sight of the earth pony ahead of her, she bowed her head to make the final push. Just as she got up to speed, she felt no tall grass in her way, leaving only shorter grass ahead. She opened her eyes to skid to a stop, seeing Applejack waiting. The area was a lower prairie with down-cut grass covering a large expanse, showcasing an array of towns and mountains in the distance. The sound of debris caught Twilight's attention. There was a small wagon, engulfed in flames as the 2 ponies lay on the ground, covered in burns and bruises. Twilight bolted ahead with Applejack as Verity made her way out from the grass patch. Adrenaline flowed through Twilight like she never had before. The rest of fear and anticipation was exciting, though worrisome. One stallion lay trapped under a broken of off-piece wood, while the other was thrown from the driver's seat, laying on his side. Twilight stood over the stallion in the grass, inspecting his wounds, and trying to calculate force of impact. How an explosion could occur and a wooden cart was behind her, but her princess was piqued. A few broken ribs, several burns to the back, and several scrapes. Twilight thought as she continued her inspection. She bent down to hear breathing. Luckily it was, but it was shallow and empty. Twilight breathed a short sigh of relief and resumed her investigation. Nothing seemed too out of the ordinary until she reached the pony's flank. He didn't have a cutie mark.
Twilight, over here! I found something!
Applejack yelled, mostly to Twilight to head over. Still confused by her patient's lack of a cutie mark, she trotted over, wary of the smoldering flames. Rarity just reached Applejack before Twilight peered inside. Twilight noticed something strange on both their faces. She wasn't hoping it was anything too tragic. Look at this! Applejack pointed her hoof to a small hole which led into the inside of the wagon. Did you make sure that pony was all right?
Well, yeah, that's it. He's still breathing. I need your knowledge of what this is supposed to be.
Applejack responded. Twilight took a look, making sure not to get too close to the flames. Inside was a pile of wood for the outside of the wagon, but there was something hidden underneath. A mass of twisted steel and cables led with a black liquid burning on top of it. Twilight took a step back, trying to make sense of what she saw. On closer inspection, she saw remnants of pistons and gears with varying scrapes that must have made up the exterior.
What do you make of it, Twi?
Applejack prodded.
Looks like machinery of some sort. Maybe it powered the wagon?
Twilight speculated, looking in once more to make out the details.
Alright then, what shall we do? We can't just leave him here.
Applejack stated.
You know, this was made post-season 2. This would be Flim and Flam.
We have to get them some help, but we don't have enough medical supplies. Twilight hung her head, looking back at the bare-flanked pony.
Agreed. But if you can tell us where we can find some more, we would gladly spare some of our own,
Rarity suggested.
Now, if we could just wake one of them up, we could get on our way.
Twilight made her way back to the injured pony, as Rarity helped Applejack lift the plank from the other victim. As Twilight approached, she noticed the pony moving around, at least squirming. She rushed down and sat down beside him, waiting for a response. He opened his eyes and looked at Twilight as he began wincing in pain.
What happened?
He asked weakly. You were caught in an explosion a few minutes ago. Can you tell me what happened? The stallion struggled to gain his footing, stumbling over himself on the way up. He clutched at his chest as he stood.
I remember driving and hearing some clanking in the engine.
He labored as he set his hooves back down to stable himself.
Something must have got stuck there and caused the engine to blow.
Twilight lent herself as a crutch and helped the pony towards the wreckage, where the other pony was now out of the rubble and being treated. Do you know where a channel with supplies is? My friends and I are a little lost. The pony sighed in pain.
There's one not too far down the road in the north. It's small, but it might be what you're looking for.
Thanks. Twilight responded as she stared at his body. Where's your cutie mark? Did you not get one? I'm sorry for prying.
Cutie mark? We never heard of that one before,
the pony said before taking his forehoof off of Twilight and hobbled his way to his friend.
Thank you for your help. We can handle it from here.
The stallion helped his friend to get up, talking to him in a low voice. Are you sure? Twilight asked, trying her best to help.
Well, yeah, we'll be fine.
He sat down near his friend and began to console him. Applejack and Rarity stepped off, trotted over to Twilight, leaving the two battered ponies to their wreckage.
I really don't want to leave him here, but I'm sure they'll be fine,
Applejack said morosely.
Did he tell you where we could find a place to stay?
Rarity interrupted. Yeah, he said there was a small town on the road, Twilight said. Even with the wreckage, she was happy to finally see a road that led somewhere. She thought maybe the old map that Luna gave them would finally become useful. As they left the burning wreckage behind, the whole world seemed to open up to them. There were more ponies with wagons and merchandise, and supplies traveling on the main road. None of them giving the three equestrians a nod or paying any attention to them. They simply went along quietly, and Twilight didn't mind. Just the view of the rolling plains and mountains in the distance was enough to make her satisfied. At least, for a little while. As they walked, Twilight couldn't help but obsess over the one pony's lack of a cutie mark knowledge. Maybe he came from a town that never had them. But he traveled. He had to have seen them, Twilight thought. So he had to let the others know. Twilight spoke. Did you see something off to you about those ponies we helped?
Not exactly. They seemed perfectly normal to me,
Rarity said.
Wow, did we miss something?
Applejack asked, looking over to Twilight. When I inspected the stallion's wounds, I noticed he didn't have a cutie mark. Twilight turned her head. Once the other her friends exchanged sideways glances. I brought this up to him, and he said he never heard of them. You would think that if he travels, he would have heard of them, right?
Come to think of it, I don't think that other pony had a cutie mark either, Applejack thought aloud. Maybe we shouldn't pry too much into this. It's only two ponies.
You're right. And this isn't a Mikan thing, so this should be perfectly fine. It's probably got actually a good plot-oriented reason, other than the author just doesn't like cutie marks. Twilight turned her head and continued to watch for any signs that pointed them to a town. The sun began its descent towards the horizon, allowing the cool air to cut off, elevating the three from the heat. The view to the path was consistent throughout. Rolling plains with short, long grasses, mountains in the distance. Faint silhouettes of what looked like settlements. Twilight opened the map and started to chart out how far away they were. They passed the sign maybe 15 minutes before. She wanted to see what was near them. She scanned it over, knowing a distinct lack of towns on the map. The one that he had been heading to, Wheattown, wasn't listed. The town was either too small for the map to list, or the map was older than the town. Twilight sighed in exasperation as he put the map away. After only an hour of trekking, a small town came into view with a wooden gate blocking the path. It looked like it had a quaint feel to it. Straw thatched roofs and what looked like to be a small fountain in the center. Twilight hastened her steps, eager to find out what a town outside Equestria would be like. As he blazed past Applejack, followed a toe with Rarity as he tried to catch up to Twilight. After only a moment of running later, she banked left and showed herself stopping in front of the gate.
Is this Wheattown?
Rarity asked as he tried up to Twilight.
I reckon it is. This is the first town we've seen,
Applejack stated. Well, here we go, Twilight said as he opened the gate with her hoof. The town was very small, with only 8 or so buildings lining the perimeter. Several ponies walked with the hoes and rakes, conversing about the day's events. 2 fillies ran around the stone fountain, chasing each other and rolling around in the grass. As they entered, they noticed the lack of fanciful architecture like they saw back in Equestria. Every one of the buildings had an old-world charm to them. They looked simple and drab. As they approached the stallion who was craning her hoe and a rake on his back, was heading west of the field, Twilight assumed that by the name of the town he was off to harvest wheat. But she didn't want to assume anything.
Excuse me,
Twilight said, catching the pony's attention.
Do you know where we can find a store here? We've never been in this part of the country before.
The stallion stopped and pointed his hoof towards a relatively larger building that had a wooden sign with the words General Store written in red paint. Twilight looked over, looked back, read with embarrassment.
Thanks,
she responded as the pony turned back to the field and began to walk again.
Well, I ain't much for talking,
Applejack said, peering over to the shop.
Let's take a look at what they have laying.
The 3 slowly tried to the store and opened the wooden door. The shop had a wooden design to everything, with thatched patches and designs in the walls and floor. There was a dark gray out-earth pony behind the counter, taking a look at some of its inventory. The store was packed with food like grains and produce, small steel weapons and canisters of oil, books on local events and history, folded up scrolls and maps and trinkets, bedding, just to name a few. Twilight forced ahead, looking up over the counter to get a better view of the shopkeeper.
Excuse me, sir. My friends and I would like to buy something. Do you have a minute?
The mare tilted her head up, tried to the counter and placed her host on top. She looked over at the 3 ponies, causing Twilight to become a bit uneasy.
What can I do you for?
The mare asked, tapping her host on the counter. Twilight's face was red from the gender mixed up, but the mare didn't seem to mind.
We're just looking for some food and blankets to buy. We're making our way to Venetia. I see. Just enough for the 3 of you?
She asked, bowing her head to the display case to retrieve a few folded blankets.
Yes, ma'am.
Twilight took a few gold bits from her bag and placed them on the counter.
I'm hoping this is enough to cover it. I don't see any prices anywhere.
The mare brought out a few blankets and placed them on the counter, then eyed the few bits Twilight had left. She squinted to get a better look, inspecting them carefully. After a few seconds, the mare finally spoke up.
What's this?
Twilight stood dumbfounded.
Those are bits. You know, money. Don't patronize me. I'll figure that much out.
The mare snapped.
So, where did you say you all were from again?
We're from Equestria. At the moment, Twilight saw the mare's eyes widen as she was about to be hit by an oncoming freight train. She stepped over the counter, walked to a small section of the counter that swung open upwards, allowing a pony to pass through.
Over here. If it's all right to you, I'd like to talk up to you, but I'll have some tea going on in a moment.
The mare made her way up to the flat stairs, leaving the shop completely empty except for Twilight, Rarity, and Applejack. They each glanced at each other with contorted looks.
What should we do? We need supplies, but I don't know if I like this.
She looked over to the open pathway, rubbing her left foreleg with her right. The 3 sat in silence, neither of them wanting to make the decision. A high-pitched whistle of a teapot pierced Twilight's now perked ears.
Does it sound like she's boiling water?
Twilight thought. The whistling died down, and the mare walked down the stairs and motioned them over. Twilight grimaced as she looked at her friends and cautiously made her way past the open path and slowly ascended the stairs. She then checked back for Applejack and Rarity, trying to make sure that everything ahead of her was innocuous. At the top of the stairs was a bedroom the size of the lower floor. A small one-pony bed lay at the north end of the room, with a window on all 4 walls. It was decorated with multicolored banners and hanging on each side of the walls, with a golden stitched insignias of various animals and weaponry. There was a small wooden rack filled with steel swords and maces in the corner, putting Twilight on edge. As though it was a small stove with a teapot with rising steam coming from the spout. She finished her ascent and approached the mayor who was sitting at the table with 4 chairs set up, each with a set of teacups and saucers in front of them. "Come on, sit." Apprehensively, Twilight sat down as the mayor poured some tea in their cups. Applejack and Rarity sat down with all of their made closely, to make sure she didn't do anything suspicious. She set the teapot down in the middle of the table and took a small sip. "So, you're from Equestria, huh? Never met any pulling from there before." "Your sword's laid downstairs. Aren't you afraid some pony's going to take something?" Applejack asked, taking a look outside. "No one's stolen anything in this town in years. Why does no lock doors at night like you see pounds do?" Mayor explained, irking Applejack. "The name's Sipera. Nice to meet you, though." "Twilight Sparkle," Twilight said, extending her hand to shake. "That's an odd name for a pony. Are all names for equestrians what name a weird out like?" Twilight rolled her eyes and sighed. "Well, this is Rarity." She pointed to Rarity, who slightly bowed. "And this is Applejack." Applejack graciously tipped her hat. "So, you've never seen an equestrian before? It's only a few hours' walk away." "Not sure. No one knows I ever go either. Both folks just seem to avoid it." Sipperose took another sip. "Now, why do you suppose that?" Applejack asked. "Sorry for my interruption, but do you not have a kitty mark as well?" Rarity prodded. Twilight hadn't noticed, but when she dipped her head to take Sipperose's blank, it was indeed blank. "Nice!" Applejack took a sip of her tea. Her face scrunched up as she did it and set it down. She looked around, trying to be nonchalant, as she pushed the cup away and slipped in her chair. "Kitty mark? Is that some sort of weird equestrian thing?" Delamere crossed her forelegs and looked at him inquisitively. "I've never heard of them before." "You're the second pony we've talked to that's never heard of them," Twilight said, as she took a sip of tea. It had a strong earthy flavor, but it wasn't overbearing. Slightly bitter, but you could take it. "That's so strange. Most ponies in Equestria have them by the time you're little fillies. Basically, they're markings on your flank to signify your special talent. Mine's conjuring magic, so my mark is a 6-point star." She looked out the chair and pointed to her mark. "Nice! It's always nice to have a remember of what you live for." "So, you two have little as well?" Zipper asked. "What about that necklace?" She pointed to Rarity, who promptly looked down her element charm. "Oh, this?" Rarity passed off. "It's nothing really, though it does match my kitty mark, which are 3 cyan diamonds." She took a sip of her tea and patted her mouth with a nearby napkin. Applejack stayed quiet. The room was quiet for a few minutes. A small rustling sound was heard outside as a group of stallions came out from the fields. The sun set lower in the sky, causing the sky to become a pale yellow-orange. Twilight tapped her hose together nervously. The silence was overbearing, and she had to break the tension. "Is this where you live, Sipera?" "Yes," she said as he grabbed her teacup with both hands. "I just take them at my store every day." After taking a larger gulp of her tea, she looked over to Twilight. "So, where are you 3 headed anyways? I know you didn't come out all the way out of our little town." "One of our friends needs some help, and the spell we need to get to isn't anywhere in Equestria. We're heading to Minstrel City in Fenix," Twilight said. "Minstrel City? You Equestrians never stop surprising me." Sipper laughed. "Minstrel City is a resident place, last I heard. They don't care much for equestrians either. Whenever one of them ponies over there in this town, I always hear about 2 unkillable demons that haunt Equestria. Every pony I've met from there is quite obsessed." "2 demons?" Twilight asked bewildered. "I don't know of any demons in Equestria. Sounds like made-up rumors." She dug to her pack and took out the map, unfurling on the table. "Could you look at this while we're here? We don't have any recent maps outside of Equestria. This is pretty old. Is this map still accurate?" "I can look, sure." Zipperos turned the map towards her and looked at it closely. She nodded her head a few times as he scanned every inch. She placed her hose on it several times, pointing out locations to herself. After a few minutes, she turned the map around and looked up at Twilight. "Everything looks fine. There's a few more tails than before, but everything else looks all right." A muffled commotion was heard outside. Twilight nodded to Sippera, set the map back in her bag, and took a step out the window. 2 ponies passed by her at full gallop. One turned to head towards the shop. She looked down at the pony. "What's wrong, Sugar Cube?" Applejack asked. Before Twilight answered, she saw a brown fur pass by the window. She looked to see if she could see what it was, but it was gone. There was a hurried knock on the door. "Griffins! We need help!" The stallion shouted right off. Zipporah quickly left her chair and galloped to the weapon rack, taking out 3 swords and a mace. Alright, I got weapons for us. Take one, let's go! So we looked at each other. Neither wanted to move. What are we doing again? Applejack got prodded. Zipporah stared at them blanking. Are you joking? We don't have time for it. Just hurry on over here! Twilight took a deep breath and cried over, taking a sword and held it in the air with magic. You tore us well. Meet me downstairs. Zipporah grabbed the mace from her mouth and towed downstairs, leaving the 3 alone in a room. What can we do? We can't go out and kill griffins on our first day out, can we? Twilight wondered, glancing into sharp steel. We don't really have a choice, do we? Verity said. We're on a mission to save Fluttershy, aren't we? If we knew we were killing animals to save her, she would never forgive us. Applejack took a sword and held it in her mouth. Right. We have to be non-lethal as possible. With sword in mouth, she trotted down the stairs to look over at Twilight and Rarity. How ready you 2 are? Twilight and Rarity looked at each other nervously. Rarity picked up the third sword, placed it on her back, held it there with her magic. Well, let us go, shall we? All right. Twilight called to Applejack, who proceeded down the stairs. Zipporah was outside the open door, mace ready. She turned her head and saw the 2 girls, most of them over. They followed directions, seeing 6 griffins swooping and striking ponies with terrible force. Do you know what to do? Zipporah asked, surveying the town. We don't really have this problem in Plainville, Twilight said as he began to sweat. Really? Urgh. Zipporah groaned. Alright, stay together. Now head down the streets. Now move! She bolted out the door, bouncing it together with other ponies. Twilight could see the shutters on the houses and closing doors slamming. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She looked back at her friends, then raced out into the fray. A large brown griffin slid down, clipping a white stallion in the back, causing it to topple over in the grass. A mare and stallion gripped together, grimacing and waiting for their chance to strike. Applejack burst through the door, easily vaulting over one of the low-flying griffins. As he was in the air, she kicked over her back legs, causing the griffin to slam down on the earth. She landed and ran to join the ranks, creating a flying X with the others. Rarity was the last to come out, holding his sword close to her face in a defense stance. She crept around, swinging her sword to swear off stray griffins. Why are they attacking? Twilight yelled, over to Zipporah, who just slammed her mace into the griffin's skull. It laid there, small trickles of blood coming from the impact wound. I ain't realize that you're young. Just attack! Zipporah yelled, scrambling to take note of the griffin's persistence. Twilight wanted to argue, but a griffin extended claws lunged at her, squeezing at the top of its lungs. Twilight dodged, dropped her sword, and used her magic to create a large blinding light. She saw a bright spark and struck the griffin, with the sound of thunder crashed to the ground. She was unable to move. Verity swung her sword wildly as she backed to the Fenix. She halted the sword and looked around, keeping her eyes peeled. Twilight galloped around to the fountain, checking to see if any griffin was hiding around it. Nothing. She looked to the sky, trying to crack their location, when she heard a stricken screech. She went her head and saw 2 griffins break apart the group. One of them held a mare in his talons, ready to take off with it. Verity was on the ground, struggling to get up. Her sword was far behind her. Twilight charged up to learn a light spell, and quickly fired at the fleeing griffin, causing the mare to drop down to earth. Verity hobbled on her hooves, knees shaking from the impact. She was dizzy and couldn't see straight, causing her to putter in her panic. She hurried towards the sword, but a griffin fell over a griffin landed near her. Verity! Twilight called out as she went into a foul gallop to her ailing friend. Before she could reach her, the griffin swiped, but a blinding light came from Rarity, making Twilight stumble backwards. She saw the griffin tumble back as well. Rarity still enveloped in light. All the commotion seemed gone as the light started, revealing Rarity with glowing white eyes. Her necklace and key mark were grinding in bright purple light. She took a wide stance and her horn glowed, causing 20 needles to come out from her bag and form a shield around her. She lifted her head and reared back, sending the magically charged needles flying with precise paths across the town. 2 griffins that were beating down a few ponies were stuck in the wings, forcing and pinning them down to the earth. They tried moving, but yelled out in pain as his needles pierced the muscle, bounded to the ground. A white griffin timidly stepped back, took off trying to fly the magically charged unicorn. Rarity snapped her head towards it, tossed the rest of the sewing needles out, catching it in its wings and legs, letting it tumble from the sky and crash to the earth. All that remained was the griffin that confidently stood on Rarity's steel weapon. She slowly let her head down and stared at her oppressor, waiting for it to make a move. Just as the griffin jutted its claw and began racing towards her, Rarity took a long piece of fabric out from her bag. With a thin edge, she slashed the griffin's back, making it plant face first into the reach. While the griffin's down, the element stopped glowing against their cutie mark. She fluttered her eyelids, bringing her eyes back to the azure color. She had a long sigh, and then toppled over the dirt. After the dust cleared, Twilight rushed over to Rarity,
chanting frantically for signs of life. She saw her chest rise and fall as she was breathing. Twilight sighed in relief. The air was cool, but slightly charged as the battle came to a close, letting the ponies breathe easier. Twilight shook. The adrenaline was still starting to wear off as she grabbed Rarity, attempting to drag her into the shop. A brown stallion rushed over and hastily lifted Rarity onto his back, causing Twilight off guard.
Thanks,
Twilight said, trying into the store. They went up the stairs and placed Rarity in Zipporah's bed. Twilight sat down next to it. The stallion took his leave as Applejack came into view. Looking over Rarity, she was visibly shaking. Her breathing was shallow. Magically, Twilight stripped Rarity of her necklace and looked over it, expending every inch.
Twa, what happened? I couldn't see anything over the pack of pillars near me.
Applejack asked as he plopped down next to Twilight.
Oh, Rarity, it must have been 2 months for her.
It had to do with this. Twilight floated the necklace in front of Applejack.
When she was in need, this started to glow, enhancing her abilities, I believe. I've never seen anything do so quickly with that kind of accuracy and power. Luna did say something about that before we left, didn't she? I think so. It must have taken out so much energy as a last resort that she just passed out. We won't be able to move until tomorrow, if then.
Twilight let the necklace fall to the ground, its ornate gold plate slightly clanking on the floor.
We should get her supplies while she's asleep. I'll stay here and tend to her. All right, I'm on it,
Applejack said. She got to her hose and headed downstairs, leaving Twilight and Rarity alone in her room. Out from her bag, she took her element crown from her bag and looked at it carefully. Incurious eyes filled with trepidation, and she stared at the reflection of the purple star.
I'm the element of magic, and generosity gave Rarity the ability to single-handedly take out a whole pack of griffins. What would magic do?
Twilight shuddered as she set the crown next to Rarity's necklace, waiting anxiously until her friend awoke. Zipporah came to the stairs, weapons covered in dirt and traces of blood. She put them away in the rack and looked over at Rarity.
How are the wounds?
She asked, inspecting Rarity's body.
Well, she'll live. This is all my fault. If I hadn't messed up that spell, she'd still be making clothes in her boutique. Why did he attack us?
She looked at her face of her host, trying hard to keep her composure.
If I found an easier spell, none of this would have happened. What does it matter? She normally defended against creatures endlessly?
No, Zipporah assumed, placing the calendar pack.
No, nothing like this happens in Ponyville. We said that before. The only dangers lie in the free forest. And these creatures never come into town.
She paused, thinking of her next course of action.
What's the trail like to Minstrel City? There's nothing to buy it,
Zipporah answered.
Tell me!
Twilight snapped. Breathing became labor as Kilt finally came over to her.
What am I putting my threads through? How many attacks will there be?
Zipporah sighed as he checked on the sea.
If you must know, the path goes for the Takari's mountain range. There, the fair griffins lie. After the mountains is Venetia, whose winter is very long, and may snow for over half a year. Barely anyone likes the trip.
Twilight stared in disbelief.
You weren't going to tell me this? Why? Well, you hadn't paid for my services yet.
After sighing, Twilight pointed down the stairs, hoping Zipporah would get the hint.
Applejack is downstairs, hoping to buy things. Just take the bits. We need Rarity in bed more than the money.
Zipporah nodded her head and headed down towards the stairs.
She stopped and turned to face Twilight. If you're really going, I will wear some cloaks. You stick out too much.
She turned away and descended the stairs. Twilight looked down the floor, trying to ease her guilt as Zipporah left. She glanced to the ground coldly, regretting opening the door for Fluttershy that day. The library in Ponyville felt so distant, and all she wanted to do was go back. She lay down on the hot wooden floor, still staring as she waited for Applejack to come upstairs.
Vic? You do remember you are a Pokemon crossover, right? Not Immortal Game 2, the sequel? Oh, that's a cool thought. Second Immortal Game, Vic. But anyway, remember, this isn't exactly supposed to be your forte, you know.